Good evening and welcome to a new edition of To The Point. This evening we'll be delving quite a controversial file, which is the Turkish file. According to Turkish officials, reform or amendments to their constitution will get Turkey out of the political turmoil or setback it is in. With a distinguished gentleman this evening, we'll be shedding light on this issue. Is there a break for Erdogan and his government, or where is Turkey heading? We'll be delving into that with Mr. Amr El Masry, who is the former bureau chief of the Middle East News Agency in Ankara. A pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you, ma'am.
Before we do so, we'll be discussing the latest development here in Egypt, which is the South African president, President Salva Kiir, was in Egypt today, and he met with President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. With us to shed light on this issue is His Excellency Ambassador Mohammed Abdel Ghaffar, the chairman of the African Export Council. Your Excellency, can you hear us? Ambassador Mohammed, can you hear us? Ambassador Mohammed, can you hear us? Your Excellency, do we have Ambassador Mohammed on the phone? Your Excellency, can you hear us?
Hello?
Yes, good evening, sir. Can you please switch the volume of the television down? Your Excellency? Ambassador Mohammed.
Hello? Good evening.
Yes, good evening. Can you hear us? Sir, can you hear us?
Forgive me, I can't hear you very well.
Well, we'll try to contact His Excellency again. We have a technical problem with the line. Until we do so, one of the questions that raise themselves right now is prospects for Turkey. Whenever we talk about Turkey, it's with mixed feelings. Vis-a-vis Egypt and Turkey did not see eye to eye, maybe, in its support of the terrorist brotherhood. Now we see some turmoil in Turkey, and their prime minister said that the referendum or the reform or the changes that will be taking place with their constitution should actually solve the Turkish political crisis or the conflict as we see it right now. How do you see things?
Good evening to all viewers of Nile TV. Actually, Turkey is in a state of disarray. What Mr. Yildirim said, the Prime Minister of Turkey, about these constitutional amendments are going to heal the wounds of Turkey and set Turkey back on the right track. I think this is not very right, or at least in the eyes of several opposition factions inside Turkey. Turkey is going to actually, with this constitutional amendments, are going to put or concentrate all the powers in one hand. That's the hand of Mr. Recep Tayyip Erdogan, the president of Turkey. Now, Mr. Erdogan is actually doing what he wants to do, but he wants to maybe, let's say, codify or entrench dictatorship by virtue of the constitution. I mean, the proposed amendments for the constitution will make it easier for the president of the republic to be the leader of the ruling party, and this is going to happen for the first time in the history of Turkey, that the president of the republic is going to be in the same time the leader of the ruling party. And this
does this fall within democracy?
Of course not. That's what I was going to say. Actually, this is going to be an ailment in the principle of separation between powers in the state, and is going to annihilate the principle of separation between powers and annihilate to the principle of neutrality of the president of Turkey. This is one thing. Actually, Mr. Erdogan and his AKP party are trying to get a considerable number of votes that would help them to go to a referendum or a public referendum. Now, the ruling party of Turkey has about 316 seats. In order to go for a referendum, this political party needs to get at least 330 seats. This is going to come from a rightist party called MHP in Turkish, or let's say the Nationalist Movement Party of Mr. Devlet Bahçeli, who has 40 seats in parliament. It's the fourth largest party in the Turkish parliament now.
Are the Turkish people who were used to democracy, will they go for such, will they vote in such a constitution?
Actually, there is a problem now with the Turkish people. A recent public opinion poll has shown that nearly 78% of the Turkish people do not know quite well about the items of the proposed new constitution. This current constitution was made during the military coup epoch of 1980 by General Kenan Evren. And Mr. Erdogan spoke so much about the need to change this constitution. And Mr. Erdogan says or claims that this constitution is going to set Turkey back on the right track. And the question we should ask ourselves now, or Mr. Erdogan or the Turkish people should ask themselves about, is why Mr. Erdogan discovered this at this current stage. Why didn't Mr. Erdogan discover this when he was a prime minister, that the presidential system was the right thing for Turkey? Why he didn't discover that during that time?
I'll hold this thought for a minute, and we'll take a phone call from Moscow. With us is Dr. Vyacheslav Latosov, and I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing the name wrong. Dr. Latosov, can you hear us?
Yes, I hear you absolutely clear.
How do you see the developments in Turkey right now, and maybe more importantly, forecast for Russian-Turkish relations in future?
Well, I can say that, in my opinion, private opinion, that Erdogan today different from Erdogan some months ago. What happened? Happened the failure of the military coup d'etat that was undergone against him. And now they have approved evidences that behind this coup d'etat was American military forces, CIA. And I think that after that, Erdogan changed his mind, made a step towards Russian Federation, met Vladimir Putin in St. Petersburg, and dramatically changed his attitude towards support of letting them to go through Turkish territory to Syria, to Iraq, and was a way or a direction for supplying all terroristic groups with weapons, financing, and so on. Now he understands absolutely clearly that this cost him very much. All these terroristic acts that he is facing today is the result, is his own activity, is his own false policy, relied upon American administration of Barack Obama. And that brought him to this escape in Middle East. That is Syria. And after Syria, it will be Turkey next time. Americans supporting Kurdish movement, which is very frightened Erdogan and Turkish government.
Yeah.
So I think that the main reason why Erdogan may step down and gone towards Russia, it is his estimated that his life is dependent on this step. I don't think that America has any chance to take Erdogan once again on their camp. My opinion, private opinion, that he is till now persistently insist on supporting some Islamic fundamentalistic groups in different parts of Arab world. But this support become more traditional, more less extensive. And I think that after all that happened in Turkey and is happening in Turkey, he would be obliged to give up his support of many terroristic groups located in Syria, in Libya, in Iraq.
Does he still have time? Does he still have time, or is it too late to change that?
Well, I hope that it is not too late, because now Kazakhstan's president Nazarbayev originated the meeting of heads of military groups, of Islamic military groups, that was under support, under cover of Erdogan, to meet in Astana. And in this city, capital of Kazakhstan, I think will be the answer of on your question. If he bring all his militarized groups from Syria to Astana to meet the Syrian government and to come to the conclusion to give up on any military actions against Syrian government, it will be the answer. I hope that in spite of all difficulties on this way, I saw it very clearly. I think that in the end it will be succeeded, and if then it will be met in Astana, all groups politicized, spread from Paris, Washington, London, Istanbul, that were representing political Syrian opposition, that was created by the United States, Robert Ford, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Qatar that time, Sheikh Jassim, that formated this political opposition. I think that they are now out of play. Like Americans are out of play. There are Russia, Turkey, Iran, who are now in Kazakhstan meeting with the presence of Russian representatives. I think that absence of American hand in this affair can bring the situation in normal place. I agree with you. It is very difficult to believe that Erdogan will be changed in substance, but I'm sure that in short and middle time in future he will be taking right decisions, and I think that he is now interested in putting an end on the war in Syria, because this war brings him many, very much disturbances, terroristic attacks on Turkish police stations and governmental centers.
Yes.
So I think that he will be on the way for changing his position, his stand on terroristic groups dramatically. Hope that it will be so.
Dr. Latosov, thank you very much for your fruitful input.
Thank you.
Mr. Amr, before we took the phone call, and maybe I'll follow up on a lot of issues which our guest raised, you said that Erdogan did not, the question is why did he accept the fact that he did not have the power,
yes,
so to speak, in the former constitution?
Exactly.
And why is it that all of a sudden he's waking up to this question right now?
Yes, that's the question the Turkish people need to ask themselves before heading to a planned referendum. Because I think it will be passed in the parliament that the rightist party, that's the nationalist movement party, is going to help Erdogan's party. That was always the case. I mean, it most probably Mahabe, this rightist party, will help Erdogan. But even if this party helped Erdogan's party in parliament, it will not. It will shore up a referendum, public referendum, but it's not, of course, enough to pass it from right from the beginning of the sessions in Parliament, to pass it all like this as a law or as a constitution, a new constitution for Turkey. I mean, in order to be passed in Parliament as a constitution without a prior referendum, they need to get about 370 seats. We have to know that all the parties, including the Republican People's Party of Kemal Atatürk, and the Kurdish party, and that's the third party inside the Turkish parliament, are opposing the plan of Turkey or Erdogan personally to turn Turkey into a presidential system. They oppose this very strongly and said they will vote against this in parliament. Even within Erdogan's party, there are voices that
Against this?
Yes, against this, but they are afraid to speak, and that's why Erdogan and the Prime Minister of Turkey, Bin Ali Yildirim, announced that the voting will be open. So, in order to know who voted for the proposed bill or voted against it. So, this is an attempt to intimidate the members of the ruling party and terrorize them into voting as one bloc for the proposed constitution.
The question right now is the timing. Could the timing have anything to do with the change in the American administration? Because as our guest was, as Dr. Latosov was saying, that Erdogan made the mistake, and I'm quoting what the guest was saying, he made the mistake of following the Obama administration and supporting those terrorist groups, for example. Is it that Erdogan is all of a sudden realizing that with the change in the American administration, Trump seems to be of a completely different view in foreign policy from Obama? Is this making him revisit and reorganize House? Could this be a reason?
This could be one side of the coin, but there's another side. There will be a new presidential elections in 2019. So Erdogan has to prepare for this. And of course, he's trying to make amends with the administration of Donald Trump, because he criticized him severely during Trump's presidential elections, presidential campaign. So he's trying to, run with the hare and hunt with the hounds sometimes. Now he's trying to make relations look good with the United States and especially Trump, namely Trump's administration, after he had to face the reality that Trump is the president of the United States now. I mean, yes, it could be this one side of the story. But the most important side internally, inside Turkey, is that Erdogan is preparing for the presidential elections.
If you suppress people, and this constitution is basically a form of suppression, I mean, you're taking all the power in your hand.
Exactly.
If you do this, this is a way to win the ballots in 2019?
Yes, and ma'am, you have to know that according to this proposed constitution, Erdogan will be the leader of the ruling party and will have the powers to appoint 10 out of 12 in the Turkish Constitutional Court. This is the Supreme Constitutional Court in Turkey. Will have the powers to name 10 out of 12.
But it will not give him the votes in 2019 if he stops people from having an opinion.
Yes.
Because basically this is what he's doing right now.
Yes, you have to know that the Turkish people, or that's what a large faction of the Turkish people believe, that there is no alternative for Erdogan. The opposition parties...
So when you talk to, I mean, I know you were there. When you
Yes.
talk to the people, you feel that they're supportive of what he's
Yes,
doing?
actually I have spoken to some seculars supporting, of course, the Kemalist ideology, totally against Erdogan and his Islamist background, of course. They said they have no choice but to vote for Erdogan because they do not believe now in the leadership, current leadership of the Kemalist party. That's the Republican People's Party. This Kemalist party is not convincing the Turkish people. And you have to know that in every elections, this Republican People's Party always gets 25%. That's the bloc known quite well within the Turkish society for Jahabi or the Republican People's Party. Of course, there will be no alliance between the opposition parties. That would be hard to predict. Because if the Kurdish party entered into this alliance against Erdogan's party, then the rightist party of the nationalist movement party would not accept this, would not unite with the Kurds in one bloc. So there is not going to be any cooperation among the opposition parties in the face of Erdogan. And that's how Erdogan's party is very strong, and Erdogan will remain as the strong man inside Turkey.
One thing that is not only a Turkish issue, but even an issue with the world at large, or anybody that is not supporting or against the terrorist movements and those who support them, including us here in Egypt. The fact that he supported, nurtured, and provided safe haven for those groups. How will this be met?
Yes, I have spoken with several opposition party leaders in Turkey, including from leftist wing parties and Republican People's Party. I have spoken with the leader of this party, Mr. Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu. He told me that they believe that Erdogan is supporting terrorists. Not supporting terrorists, supporting extremist groups within Syria. And others from other parties, other officials from other parties told me so. Yes, and that's true. And now Mr. Erdogan is delving deep, or at least, let's say, get involved very much into the quagmire of Syria. Actually, now he is getting deeper and deeper into battles in near an area called Al-Bab. He announced that the battles over this Al-Bab area in Syria would continue. He said, or the Turkish media claims that the Turkish forces are fighting against Daesh. But actually, he does not fight against Daesh. He wants to control this area inside Syria before the Kurds of northern Syria seize control over this area. He wants to get ahead of the Kurds of Syria in order to control this area. So it's a fight or a battle over lands in very strategic areas in northern and northeastern Syria in order to ban or prevent, let's say, strongholds by the Kurds of Syria, and would make it easier for them to channel weapons into the Kurds of Turkey. That's the PKK. And this could constitute a very great threat to the Turkish government and the Turkish nation as a whole.
How, in your opinion, how will Russia react to that? Is Russia receptive to Turkey's meddling in Syria?
Of course, we know that Mr. Vladimir Putin supports Bashar al-Assad, and for his own interests, of course. He does not want to see terrorists coming to Russia from this part of land. I mean, of course, the agendas of Mr. Putin and Mr. Erdogan are contradictory. And now Erdogan is into alliance with the Turkish, with the Iranian, Russian, Syrian bloc. He changed sides. He switched sides now for his own interests. And this has happened after the fall or let's say the reconquering of Aleppo and its fall into the Syrian regime's hands. He has to, of course, let's say, amend his ways with with Russia, and he maybe he found out that the interests of Turkey are very important to have good relations and mend relations with Russia and Mr. Putin personally, especially after the downfall of the Russian warplane on the Syrian-Turkish border last year.
Sometimes, you know, getting out of things is not that easy. Turkey not only has been supporting those extremist groups, but it has been providing a safe haven for them. I mean, for example, lots of the leadership or the influencers of the terrorist brotherhood are in Turkey.
Yes.
Can you shed those people out now? Can you just get rid of those people out now?
Well, Erdogan is not to be predicted, actually. I mean, yes, Erdogan is giving safe haven, of course, for terrorists, especially from the Muslim Brotherhood. He allowed them to open channels attacking Egypt.
Exactly.
And
can this be reversed?
Could be if he came under very strong pressures. But Erdogan is not that kind that retreats so easily. Erdogan's is very Erdogan's personality is so obstinate. He's not that kind of giving up so easily.
The terrorist attacks that are taking place in Turkey, they are not waves of incentives that maybe he has been supporting the wrong side?
Of course, that's what the Turkish people is now starting to believe. The Turkish people during the June 2015 elections, when Erdogan's party did not get enough majority to form a government with a sole party, the Turkish people wanted a coalition government. This did not happen, and the ruling party of Erdogan and Davutoğlu, then the prime minister, they were biding time. They were wasting time in order to let the constitutional period of time pass. And constitutionally in Turkey, when the first party or the winner of the elections fails to form a coalition government, he should pass it on to the second largest party in the elections. That should have been the Republican People's Party,
yes,
the Kemalist one, the seculars. This did not happen. And Erdogan, let's say Davutoğlu, he was the prime minister then, called for early elections that happened in November. From that elections in June 2015 to the early elections in November 2015, Erdogan's party climbed from 40% to 49%. He bargained the Turkish people for their own security.
Yes.
There were a lot of terrorist operations, including the one in Ankara, in the heart of Ankara, at the train stations. Several people were killed. That was mostly a leftist and Kurdish gathering calling for peace. And a lot of other bombing attacks here and there in Turkey that forced the people to give Erdogan's party the majority he needs in order to form a government with a sole party. That was the first time since Erdogan's party came to power.
How are you expecting relations to develop between Turkey and the United States? I mean, in a few days, a new president will be sworn in with a very different mentality. And as you had made reference to the unpleasant, if we can put it this way, statements that Erdogan made about Trump, will this just smooth or just phase away without any problems?
No, actually no.
Especially since Trump made statements against terrorism, and he said he would be supporting Egypt in its battle against terrorism.
Yes, that was so clear. Trump's agenda is so different from Erdogan's now.
Yes.
There will be conflict of interests between the two men. Erdogan is starting to understand this. And he's trying to be some way mellow with Trump's administration. Trump was very clear in his statements on a war on terrorism, and on the other hand, Erdogan is playing with the card of terrorism for his own interests, actually, or for Turkey's interests. I don't know. I'm not sure about this, or whether this is going to be to the interests of the Turkish people. But what a way! I mean, he's using Daesh to fight the Kurds in northern Syria, and in the same time to fight the regime of Bashar al-Assad. So he is killing two stones with one bird, if we may say so. But the most important thing for Turkey is to prevent the establishment of a semi-state in northern Syria, and that is going to be dangerous. A semi-state of the Kurds in northern Syria and a semi-state for the Kurds in northern Iraq, that would embolden the Kurds of Turkey.
So it's in their interest that Bashar continues.
Actually, not. It's not. I mean, Erdogan announced it several times that there will be no political settlement inside Syria with Bashar al-Assad still being in power.
Well, should Bashar step out of power, what would be the fate of Syria? Would it be any different from what happened in Iraq or what happened in Libya, for example?
This is unknown. Nobody even cared about asking themselves this question. What would be the post-Bashar era?
Or does he have a different agenda?
Yes, I mean, the most important thing now for Erdogan, he's launching a military operation called the Shield of Euphrates, or Dar al-Furat. This Shield of Euphrates operation wants to deter the Kurds of northern Syria, led by Mr. Saleh Muslim.
For you to prevent their movement towards the Turkish borders, let's be quite frank.
Yes.
That means that you will step into Syria and prevent them from moving into a specific area, or can it be done in any other format?
No, actually, Al-Bab area Erdogan is now fighting over is a very strategic area for the Kurds in order to wield control over a very good part of northern Syria. Erdogan does not want to see this. Erdogan does not want to see Kurds on his Syrian-Turkish borders. Erdogan does not want to see a corridor between.
How can he prevent this?
He's already trying to do this
By what?
by force.
Stepping in?
Of course. The Turkish forces are now inside Syrian lands, in northern Syria. That's what the Euphrates Shield operation is all about. I mean, if Erdogan managed to do this, he would he would cause a great loss for the YPG. That's the northern Kurdish Syrian northern Syrian Kurdish party of Mr. Saleh Muslim. Also the Kurds of Syria have their own agenda, and they formed an alliance with a lot of ethnic groups inside Syria called the Syrian Democratic Forces.
To have a stronghold in this area?
Yes.
Which Erdogan already has a hand
he's
on.
fighting. He's fighting over it. He did not control it yet. But you have to know that the Syrian Democratic the alliance includes not only Kurds of Syria, it also includes Armenians, includes Arabs, includes Turkmens. This is going to be a very strong confrontation against Erdogan.
Let me go back to the question. If he wants to have a control over this area, then he wouldn't want Bashar al-Assad to be in office. And he will fight against Bashar al-Assad continuing in office, right? Or am I reading this wrong?
No, this is another story. I mean, when he interferes inside northern Syria, he is not fighting Bashar al-Assad, he is fighting the Kurds.
I understand, but if he wants to get a hold of this area, to maintain Turkish troop presence in northern Syria, this cannot be done if Bashar al-Assad is in office.
No, ma'am, actually you have to know that the Syrian regime's forces do not have any control over this part.
Right now?
Yes,
right now. We're not talking about right now. We're talking about how we want things to be, or how things should be. That at least for some time Bashar will be regaining control of Syria, and then it's up to the Syrian people to decide how they want to proceed.
Yes.
But is this to the liking of Erdogan, or does he want to decide the fate of the Syrian people?
This is an assumption. I mean, this is a future assumption. We should not speak much about it now. We are speaking about the current state of affairs. And this is the reality now. The reality is that Bashar al-Assad's forces do not have any presence in this part of northern Syrian lands. And Erdogan wants to make a preventive strike in order to keep the Kurds of Syria away from this.
Can he afford it? Because it seems that he has a lot of problems in-house. Can he afford to overstretch himself? I mean, he no longer has the U.S. support starting January 20th. I don't think, at least he has to work back to getting their support.
Yes.
He will not see eye to eye with Russia should he want to topple Bashar al-Assad, because Russia wants things to continue under Bashar for their own interest.
Yes.
He is not getting he's not popular in this part of the world due to his support of those terrorist groups.
Yes.
And eventually, we see the terrorist groups enacting in Turkey, which will be turning public opinion, because we've lived through that unfortunate phase whereby you don't feel you're safe. And I don't think the Turkish people will really be very happy.
Yes.
That if they want to go to a nightclub or go to a mall, then they just might face the chance of not coming back home again.
Yes, exactly.
On their feet, let's put it that way.
Yes.
And this will turn public opinion in Turkey against him. Can he afford the amount of problems that he really landed himself in?
Well, actually, no. No.
I'm trying to be very diplomatic.
Yes, actually, no. But you have to know that there are some problems now between Turkey and the United States, to the degree that Mr. Erdogan has announced a few days ago that he's going to shut the Incirlik Air Base. That's the U.S. Air Base in Adana. Southern.
That's what I'm saying. So this is quite a big problem.
Yes, he already threatened to do this. Maybe he is citing the example of the French leader Charles de Gaulle when he shut down 29 air bases belonging to the United States after the World War II. But Turkey is no France, and Erdogan is no Charles de Gaulle. I mean, Erdogan wants to play a role bigger than his size. Yes, he wants to stretch. Yes, he wants to go beyond.
He wants to revive the Ottoman Empire, maybe?
Yes, of course, and you have to know that there is something in Turkey now called Yeni Osmanlı. Yeni Osmanlı means a new Ottomanism. This is even being spoken about in the Turkish media.
It's fine if they want to do it in Turkey.
Yes, of course, but Ottomanism that is not exclusive to Turkey.
I understand.
Yes, I mean, that's why we say that the June 30 revolution was a strike where it hurts for Mr. Erdogan and his Islamist background party, because June 30 revolution has dashed all his hopes of wielding control over the area.
It dashed a lot of hopes for a lot of people.
Yes.
Not just Erdogan.
Not just Turkey, also the United States. Yes.
Amongst others.
Amongst others, of course. Qatar, if we say Qatar, I mean, I don't care about Qatar. It's not that a country we should be counting in our conversations. But Erdogan, yes, that's why, that explains why he was so angry after the June 30 revolution, because it was only about 2 blocks away from reaching his dream of becoming a Khalifa or becoming a Sultan. Many Turks told me this word in specific, Sultan. Erdogan dreams to be a Sultan again. Erdogan has accounts he wants to settle with secularism. Erdogan has personal accounts with Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, the great leader of Turkey. I mean, now with the problems between US and Turkey, there are conflicting agendas. Erdogan is going to, of course, make concessions. I expect he's going to make concessions. It already began to look with its head after the fall of Aleppo in the Syrian forces' hands.
Yes. Before we wrap up, maybe I'll ask you a question that a lot of people are asking. And last week when you made a comment over the phone from Ankara, I questioned how you see Erdogan continuing or not continuing in Turkey. Will he be able to regain control? And maybe I'll ask you this question. I'm not asking whether he will be able to make it in the 2019 elections, but will Erdogan be able to make it to the 2019 elections, from your point of view?
Yeah, Erdogan wants to make it to 2029.
I understand. I'm just saying this is what he wants.
Yes.
But facts on the ground. You were in Turkey. You saw
Yes.
how things are. You see how people are talking. You were there right in the middle of the tragic incidents which took place in
Yes.
Turkey. And the question is, do you see Erdogan regaining control over Turkey?
Yes, actually, he is now in control. Actually, he is now in control over Turkey. All Erdogan wants now is to make this control constitutional. He wants to make this dictatorship constitutional.
He's in control with the whip.
Yes, exactly.
Will this strategy continue? Can he continue
Well, I expect this to...
this dictatorship? Will it
yes.
work in Turkey?
Yes, actually, yes. I mean, the Turkish people are now being under a dictatorship, if you speak about the reality. I mean, there are mass detentions of about...
But this was not in the past. I mean, this is only recent.
This is recent.
This is recent. The issue is, will they be accepting this to continue?
The Turkish people cannot do anything.
They're helpless?
Yes, they are actually helpless, and we should not count on any opposition parties in Turkey. Erdogan's party is the strongest party on the political chessboard. We have to admit this, and I expect that in the parliament, Erdogan will get the votes he needs from the rightist party of nationalist movement party of Devlet Bahçeli, and he's going to get at least the 330 votes he needs in order to go to a public referendum. But I don't know what is going to happen with the referendum. I mean, every thing Erdogan entered, every battle, every constitutional battle, or every political battle Erdogan entered into since he came to power, he succeeded in, not a single failure.
Except the June 30th.
Yes, this is outside Turkey, of course. And I want also to say that when there was a corruption scandal in 2013, at the end of 2013, I personally, I was in Turkey then, I expected that Erdogan's party would fall considerably. And all opinion polls have been speaking about this. In the municipal elections in March 2014, I was really shocked to see Erdogan's party getting a sweeping majority. To my shock and awe, that was against all analysis and against all political analysis. And you can never know what is going to happen in Turkey because things are really going in a very strange way. Yeah, it's very hard to analyze things. But we just make a few expectations about Erdogan's abilities to be Turkey's strong man until 2019 when Turkey is going to the presidential elections.
Mr. Amr El Masry, thank you very much for your fruitful input. Our time, unfortunately, is up. And, well, regardless of whether he continues or not, because there's nothing definitive, but one thing is clear, that there definitely is no room for anyone that supports terrorism, nor do I think that any populace, including Turkish, would be supportive of terrorism, especially since it's starting to bite them in the face.
True.
On that note, I wish you a very pleasant evening, and we'll see you same time next week. Until then, good night.